I'm Tamarez.
And I'm Alise.
And this is Go Touch Grass, the podcast where we log in
so you can log off.
Alise and I are two chronically online comedians, and on this pod, we break down the week in influencer discourse, viral memes, TikTok trends, and niche influencer comment. It's early.
It's early. It's earlier than we normally pod.
It's early. Okay. And niece. Collective breath. On this pod, we break down the week in internet discourse, viral memes, TikTok trends, and niche influencer drama so that you can do literally anything else with your time.
Literally anything else. And if you like what you hear today and you want to hear more, we have a Go Touch Grass Patreon where you can get tons more content weekly, access to our Discord community, and our spin-off series, Search History, where we go back and break down a viral discourse from the past.
And I think the timing of this, it'll be about Anonymous.
Yeah, I think.
At least we'll talk about Anonymous.
Yes, this is a banked episode, so if that's wrong,
whatever,
it's wrong. But we're pretty sure that
it's
this week's
Patreon
is about the history of the internet hacktivist group Anonymous.
Yes, and how all bad, I guess, is it bad? Is it good? Who knows? But all curse things start on 4chan. On Discord, we have officially started a Grass Nation book club. We are currently reading Little Bosses Everywhere, How the Pyramid Scheme Shaped America by Bridget Reed. If you have Spotify Premium, the audiobook is included. We're recruiting this early, but I've been reading it, and it's just crazy to learn that pyramid schemes are like the basis for American capitalism and the American dream that's no longer there. And a lot of dark Republican money is from pyramid schemes. Put a pin in dark Republican money.
Yeah, we'll be getting more into that. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review. We love your reviews. We always need more of them, but the best review you can give us is to tell your friends about the show. Post a story and tag us. We will repost it. You know that we're online.
We're always online. And speaking of online, we're on YouTube. We have a YouTube and we put episodes out every Saturday, edited by moi. Please watch. And also we have a website, gotouchgrasspodcast.com. We'll have information about us and things that are going on. Hopefully merch soon, hopefully tour soon.
All sorts of things.
And who knows? Speaking of all sorts of things.
Someone who speaks about all sorts of things.
Someone who speaks about all sorts of things. Our guest today is comedian, content creator, non-derogatory, and host of Too Many Tabs podcast. Everyone give a Grass Nation welcome to Alex Pearlman.
Hey!
Yes.
Wonderful to be here.
Yeah.
I love that intro. I was
Yeah.
recently called a shock comedian by the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Shock
They called me a
comedian.
shock comedian, and I was like, which definition are we going with? And there was a moment, because there's a lot of guys out there. I unfortunately stopped in Austin, Texas last year, and I went, shocking.
Wow.
These prices are shocking. And
Oh,
then
the
I
prices
left.
were shocking.
Well, the prices of what you have to pay in your soul to do comedy in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you can, and you're welcome to use content creator non-derogatory anytime.
I love that.
Because there's a difference.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
difference.
No, there really is. I like to use the term content creator over influencer.
Yeah.
No. I get that.
Because it's also difficult now. I think there's definitely a new term that needs to be out there. I'm not going to be the one who comes up with it, but I think there'll be somebody who, because like I had a friend of mine who was like, I was at an event the other day, and they were like, "Oh, we're online political pundits." I'm like, "I'll kill myself right now." I'm just if that sticks,
At the party.
if that sticks, it's over. I don't want to be that. But
That's
I don't know
so funny.
quite
And
like where we're at for it.
as like the protected class of creators.
Yeah.
If you did kill yourself over the labeling of political punditry, that would be like a historical moment for all, political
that would be my Wikipedia mention. That would be the top line short bio before you click the and other controversies tab.
Wow.
Yeah.
And killing yourself becoming a political moment. That's going to come up again.
That's
in
gonna
the
come
episode.
up again.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna come up
Again today.
Oh,
We're
okay.
really getting
Put
into
a
it.
pin and
Okay.
kill yourself.
I like that. You know what I like about your podcast already?
Oh,
A lot
wow.
of foreshadowing.
Yeah, it's really.
There's a lot of foreshadowing.
really,
There's Chekhov's
really is.
list just off the edge of this whole pod.
Yes, check it off,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah.
Okay, but before we get into that,
Yeah.
we do like to just like set the scene for our
Sure.
listeners. So why don't you tell us, how did you make the move from, doing comedy to making videos? When did you start like taking off on
Sure.
TikTok, all that stuff?
Sure. So I started doing stand-up in 2002.
Mhm.
I'm 41. I know my skin looks great. I'm not racist.
Looking amazing.
The big part, that's
Well,
the secret.
I don't
That's
know.
the secret.
Verdict's still out on not being. I'm kidding.
Okay, well, the secret is lotion. Don't be racist. You have great skin.
You're
and
wearing an X-Men tee. There's
Yeah.
a lot of optical illusions.
there's a
happening.
lot going on. But so I started in 2000.
You look great. You
Thank
look
you.
great.
I
Great
appreciate
for
that.
41.
Thank you.
Mrs. Pearlmania, don't kill me.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're good. So I started doing stand-up in 2002. I always knew though, as the growth of the internet, that like I had friends of mine who moved to New York, moved to LA. They do this different stuff. Like the goal was to go on the Tonight Show. They always that.
Mhm.
Even back then, I was like, the internet's growing. Like as YouTube showed up in 2006, I'm like, why aren't people doing more YouTube shows? And it was actually then the discoverability that was the issue.
Mhm.
But I kept doing stand-up. I did sketch. I had podcasts with friends of mine. I did all those different things over the years. And in 2018, I actually walked away from it all.
Mhm.
I had a good paying like desk job. I was like, my wife wanted to go back to school. I'm like, why don't I just be a person
Yeah.
and just concentrate on this? And it was good timing because COVID hit.
Mhm.
Everyone I knew who was doing stand-up was like hitting me up like, do you want to do a Zoom show? And I was like, I will end my life
Yeah.
on that stream in
Well-
front of people.
Well,
That'll
we
be
all
the
did
thing.
Zoom shows.
Yeah,
And,
no.
and you're right.
You're right.
No,
That-
I
that's
was
how it
like, if
felt.
that is my choice
It
to
felt
come
bad.
back,
One time I did, someone's like, can you do a Zoom show? And it was like an all hands meeting. Like I was like the comedy break for a company's all hands meeting.
No.
oh my
Um,
God.
For Hispanic
No.
Heritage Month. Twice.
I had a buddy
No.
of mine tell me about doing a Zoom show, and it had 5 audience members and 7 comics on it. And he said the worst part was, he's like, so you get up, you're like, all right, it's time for my set. And you can see everyone look at their phone. Like they don't even like, why is your camera on? But he said the worst one was this one lady who went to multiple Philadelphia comedy Zoom shows. And she was reading this massive book, but she wanted to support. So she would pay to be in the show, and she'd be in there, and the show would start, and then she would pull out this like huge like Harry Potter compendium, and she'd be on like page 200 of 1200, and you just watch her turn to it, and she would every now and then look up and go, But anyway, so that
Okay.
so that is around that. So I wasn't doing comedy. I finally got like a back office job, which was really cool because originally I was a customer facing position, which was my other part of like why I stopped doing comedy, because I didn't want to like have somebody be at a show and then see me the next day and be like, oh, I saw you say that thing. And
Yeah.
so I was finally back office, and then I started making TikToks, so just, fun things on my phone. And then Roe v. Wade got overturned.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you guys remember that, like a lot around that. I think a lot of people have already forgotten. We knew Roe v. Wade was going to be overturned a month in
Yes.
advance.
Yeah.
Everyone knew it was a massive leak. Everyone knew about this. Specifically, the Democratic Party knew about this.
Yeah.
And when it happened, when it was officially happened, I got 13 text messages asking me to donate $12 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like this weird number.
Cool.
Like, can you give us 20? I was like, wait. And I lost my mind. And what I was yelling about was the Republican Party had a 49-year plan to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party, for all their faults, they tried different things over 49 years to stop that, sure. But we've known for a month it was
Yeah.
going to be overturned. And the only messaging they did was, give us some money.
Yeah.
And
Oh, Joe
it
Biden,
made me
like-
so mad.
Joe Biden like didn't say
Say a
anything
bo-
for like a couple days, maybe
Yeah.
even a week. I think they trotted Kamala out like the
But,
next
like-
Yeah, they
day.
did. They did trot her out. I just remember because we were working for a women's media company,
Mhm.
and we did political podcasting for the media company. And we remember that in his first State of the Union, he didn't even say abortion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then like they had Kamala going to all these events because my friends worked in Black women reproductive rights shit, and Kamala was going to everything and that was her thing.
Yeah.
That was the only time she was allowed to speak publicly. But Joe Biden wouldn't say shit. And then he had like kind of an okay speech like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
No,
So
exactly.
you're saying you
but
went
they
viral
didn't have
for
it
that?
they didn't have it in that moment. And
No.
it was like as it was happening, it was I want to say it was like every 5 to 15 minutes. My
Yeah.
phone would buzz. It'd be like, Nancy Pelosi here. And I'm like, I know you got money. Why are you asking me?
Mhm.
I'm in southeastern Pennsylvania, like trying to scrape together. Inflation's going crazy.
Yeah.
And you're like, do you have $15? I'm like, do you have 15? I know you have 15
And 15
bucks.
bucks for you to do what? Because you've done nothing up
Yeah.
until this point.
Yes.
Like again, like you said, we knew from the leak for a month ahead of time. And then even before that, people who are watching this stuff, which I assume the Democratic Party should be, knew that this case was making its way to the Supreme Court. This Supreme Court exists for the purpose of overturning Roe v. Wade. So,
Yeah.
like, let's connect some dots here.
So my rage about that went viral, but it broke on both sides. So people who were upset with Joe Biden and Democratic leadership, who were Democrats, they were like, yes, he's saying the rage that I think. But also conservatives also liked me because there's been this whole thing where they started writing headcanon where he's going to become one of us any day. And I was like, no, I'm not. It's never going to happen. But in that was my first moment of like true virality where like I had newspaper articles written about me, which is how that's how I learned how the right washes things.
Yeah.
So it was a local Lancaster newspaper wrote an article about me and they reached out and I was like, cool. Like, you know, they DM'd me and we touched base a little bit and wrote a little email exchange. It got printed in this local Lancaster newspaper. It did well there. So then they moved it to the New York Post. Once it hit the New York Post,
New York Post.
then the New York, because it was in the top 10 of Lancaster. So they're like, cool, we'll try it New York Post. And then it got a little bit bigger there. So then it became a Fox article. But I watched it over like this 3-day cycle. And I'm like, this is them testing.
Yeah.
And they were testing me. And then it was like, I was viral on Twitter. Like James Woods called me one of the good ones and I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah, no, that's horrible.
So I keep saying that. I'm going to get you guys demonetized on YouTube.
I know. Well,
I wanted to
we're not monetized yet.
Oh,
so.
Mom,
No,
sorry.
no, not on YouTube.
Well, it's going to get you deranked at least.
Yeah.
So,
well,
all right, how about
don't-
this? How about this? Every time I say it, I'm going to community guidelines myself.
Yeah, okay.
There we
I'm
go.
gonna community guidelines
Yes.
myself.
So, but I had...
So Epstein did a community guideline.
Yes, he didn't. But the other part that happened with me in that moment is Libs of TikTok on
my
Twitter
Oh, God.
posted me. And I actually have friends of mine who are trans who were targeted by Libs of TikTok. And when it was really going off, I was at a beach house with one of them. So I had to have a
Wow.
moment where I turned to them and I was like, this is insane. Like, I'm getting pro stuff. And you know what? They looked me dead in the face and they were like, hey, do me a favor. Sell a t-shirt right now. I want you to get right-wing money and then you're going to buy us all dinner. And we did. We made a t-shirt.
Amazing.
And then we sold it. But then as that like started to build and all those different things, the New York Post article, that got the company I was working for, they were like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, ah. And then about a year later, I left that and went full time. So my wife and I sat down, we kind of wrote out like, we should build out a podcast. Maybe I'll get back into doing stand-up. What do these other different things look like? And then the day I was going to quit my job, my wife was like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, oh my God. I was writing my resignation letter. So
you waited a little bit.
I waited a little bit, but it was good because being full-time content has allowed me to be home with my kid for that first year and also like reset my brain during a very dark and weird time.
Yeah.
So like sitting through all of that has been different, but also trying to remind myself of like, most people don't get the amount of time that we get to just scroll this fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know, because some people are like, why don't you know about this? Why don't you? I'm like, I've talked to content creators, especially in the news side all the time. Like, why don't people know about this? I'm like, well, you get 8 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Most people get what during the actual work hours, maybe 30 minutes.
Well, there's a poll that says like the like average person only thinks about politics for 4 minutes a week or something, or 4 hours a week or something. Some like really small number.
Yeah.
That is like disproportionate, obviously, to content creators and stuff. And I want to just get to the second question, which is that a lot of your content is about politics, and as you said, is you yelling about stuff. And I think for me, I mean, way before, you know, we even thought you could come on this podcast, I've just been watching you for a while, and I think like part of your appeal is that there's not that many like loud, aggressive, progressive voices out there.
Yeah.
And passionate about progressive causes. So I feel like that's kind of like a little like attraction that people have. Like, I want to know, is there anything that you learned about, because I just feel like there's a huge gap
Yeah.
in creation. So I want to know, like, is there anything you learned from your audience? And then is there anything that you feel like maybe Democratic leadership has learned from you?
Yeah.
Vice versa, that you've learned about Democratic leadership and all that stuff.
Yeah, so we don't have Democratic leadership. I'm just gonna start
Yeah.
there. We really don't.
Yeah,
They are all reacting. We are now more than ever a reactionary country with reactionary politics.
Yeah.
In so that like everything they're doing for a reaction. The reason why we're recording this, what's today's date? Just so that's so people have context. Today's August 19th, before the Civil War started. But the right now, Gavin Newsom's having a moment. Why is Gavin Newsom having a moment? Because he's doing reactionary. He's doing reactionary politics. He is throwing out memes. He is gaining a reaction from. He's aimed it to gain a reaction from Republicans. So he's got Tomi Lahren to get upset. He got Scott Presler. He's got these low-level Republicans and even Donald Trump himself upset. And so
Low
now,
level and Donald Trump.
yeah, well, you know, but I mean, I'm thinking of like Tomi Lahren, Scott Presler. There's certain names that only terminally online progressives know. especially
Tomi
from
Lahren's
Twitter.
gonna come back.
Tomi
Guess what?
Lahren's
We're gonna
gonna
talk
come
about her
back.
later this
Oh,
episode.
God.
She'll be back.
There's so many. There's so much foreshadowing.
I know.
This should open with a foreshadowing edit.
Yeah,
Foreshadowing.
totally.
But in general, so the terminally online libs and progressives and leftists and all this other different stuff, they're like, he punched at Tomi Lahren. Oh, he went at Scott Presler. Oh, he went at these people who's annoyed me. But if I talk about them to a rando, I sound insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, you're not getting that from a Gretchen Whitmer or a Josh Shapiro or even a Chuck Schumer. Like, we're not seeing it from that in them. And so to the point where I've told repeated people, anyone I can talk to, when it comes to what the future looks like for comms for the Democrats, I said the future is saying what you believe and fucking sticking with it.
Yeah.
Like, saying what you believe. Stop fucking triangulating on everything, because then people know if you can triangulate on trans rights, then you can triangulate on abortion rights.
Yeah.
If you can triangulate on abortion rights, then you can triangulate on Black Lives Matter. If you can triangulate on that, then you can triangulate on fucking Gaza. You can triangulate on all these other different things going around. And if you're willing to make these sacrifices over here, then why would I trust you on any of the things I actually care about?
Yeah.
Right.
And so like, that's been the thing I've been trying to hammer home into them. Like, whenever I do get a chance, like, it's very rare. I don't like to leave my house that often right now.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming
Yeah, I
in.
know. Well, it's like baby time, and we're watching a lot of Cars 2. And it's a great movie. You should.
Cars 2.
Disney Pixar's Cars 2.
Okay. Because Paddington 2, I hear, like, obviously is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
That's what
But
I've heard.
Cars 2, not
It's
Cars
different.
1.
Cars 1's good. Cars 3 is good. Cars 2 is a spy movie.
Oh.
It's completely different. Anyway, enough about
Okay.
that. If you want more about Cars 2, watch my podcast, Too Many Tabs, which you can find by YouTube or Pearlmania 500. Go to any of my social medias. Click my link tree. Give it a scroll.
We're going to get to plugging later.
I know, but I know we're around the 20-minute
More
mark, so I'm gonna
foreshadowing.
start plugging it now. The edit it around.
Wow, this is a professional. This
Yeah.
is a non-derogatory content creation professional.
Thank you. But back to the question before, because it was a multi-part one, and now I'm trying to get back to the rest of it. So we don't have Democratic leadership. What was the other part of the question?
Just anything that you learned from your audience.
Oh, yes.
Now because you have direct contact with an audience and you have this white space.
Yes, no, exactly. So inside of that, the biggest thing I've learned from being a stand-up comic, actually, to becoming a content creator and also doing stand-up comedy, is, which I think everyone should do, is to have a trusted second set of eyes when you want to post anything.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Especially if it's something you're like, I think I did it. You didn't. You didn't.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you didn't nail it. So my wife is my executive producer on everything,
Nice.
including the TikTok rants. So sometimes we have a joke. Sometimes she leaves the house, goes to the grocery store, and she comes back like an hour and a half later, and she's like, why are you viral? And I'm like, well, I got real mad. And she's like, but sometimes, if I know I'm like on the right side of this, I want to do it. But there have been times where I've talked about a specific topic, especially something that's a little bit more terminally online. where she has reminded me of like, you're not thinking about it from this other niche audience.
Yeah.
And there's certain phrases that you might not realize you're using. Unfortunately, I don't have an example off the top of my head, but like you don't realize
say the
you're
N-word
using
right now.
No, but not even just that. Of
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
like the you people of it all, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course,
like
of
like
course.
that old joke and that
Yeah,
trope
yeah.
where it's like, you know, when that type of thing. So we try to like watch, and what actually has made me a better comic with that is it finally, for the first time in my life, taught me how to take editing advice. Because one thing as a creative and as somebody who wants to feel like an artist, like I crafted it that way on purpose. That's why I wanted to be that way. She's like, okay, well, the people aren't going to hear you say that sentence.
Yeah.
They're going to hear that sentence and think you're talking about this other thing that's happening over on this other little corner of Tumblr you're not paying attention to. So we try to like keep that in mind. And she's been really good at just like reminding me.
But she's not front facing, right?
She's not
I
currently.
haven't seen a picture of her or anything.
No, that's
so interesting.
It's been neat. And then
Behind every great man,
Well,
that's what I'm like.
powerful female executive producer.
Faceless. I'm like, this is Jim Gaffigan. This is well, not Joan Rivers' original husband because he couldn't handle it.
No, he couldn't hang.
But this is
he
really
community
cool.
guidelined himself.
He community guidelined himself.
Yeah. But from the audience though, what I've learned, and it's a thing that I've had to keep in mind, specifically from the online audience, I get a lot of messages from people who are like, I don't have the capacity to be able to yell or to feel this the way you do. Whether or not that be hours in the day, whether or not that be because they have kids or they have a job, or because they live in an apartment complex and they literally can't yell inside their apartment like down to that like level.
We live in New York.
Well, you live in New York,
Yeah.
but like, you know what's crazy? When I first started going viral, the amount of Midwestern blonde moms that were like DMing me, like, what's your deal? And I'm like, oh, they've never had a red-haired Jew scream at them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because of you parked wrong.
Powerful.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like,
Powerful.
there's a little fetishization there.
Yeah.
I mean,
People need that.
having been a ginger on the internet right as the apps took off, and like I met my wife offline, thank God. But right as the apps took off, I remember it was before Tinder, it was like Plenty of Fish and getting like discovering ginger chasers exist.
Wow.
No, I was like, I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, we talked about gingers are black.
Yes.
Mhm.
We did a whole episode about it on our show too.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. I had a lot of thoughts on it. And
Yeah.
but also in that conversation was trying to make sure they find the respectful lane on it, because it was interesting hearing from the black community, not realizing that the white community had colorism too in that way.
Oh, that's what we did a Patreon episode where it's like, I didn't realize, even the black community didn't realize that like gingers were treated like that, and it became a really sweet moment on the internet where people were like crying and being like, I was always bullied and shit. So.
Yeah. And it took me a while to try to figure out how to like do that. I made like a very short thing, like a little joke about like, why did my credit just get destroyed? I paid my bills on time. Because like I worked.
What did Miss Pearlmania have to say about that joke?
I actually ran that by my buddy Satoyo.
Oh, okay.
So I actually reached out, like, I'm like, all right, this is one of those ones. We actually recrafted it a little bit. He's like, you need to say, why did you pay your bills on time? He's like, I paid all my bills. Why is this happening?
Yeah,
because that is the thing that happened. The credit reports are historically racist.
Yeah.
So it was like crafting around that side of it and all those different things. And so when we put it out, we're like, cool, it did well. And we're like, we wanted to touch on it on that. But I had so many thoughts about it that I was like, this is actually more of a podcast episode than I could nail it as a TikTok.
That's, our process too. Is that sometimes there's issues that we want to cover, and it's better as a sketch. It's better as a character. It's better as a podcast.
There's so much about what you said that I vibe with, because it is a thing, especially when you're talking about like political issues or like trying to satirize something that's like a little bit spicier of a topic. It really is important to have that other set of eyes, because I think that sometimes you, as like a comedian, you have this feeling that like, oh, everyone understands my point of view. Like everyone understands where I'm coming from, that I'm not racist, that I would never blah, blah, blah. And it's like, actually, everyone doesn't know that.
No.
Yeah.
And
especially online.
No.
Especially TikTok, where the kind of juice of that platform is to show you to people who have never seen you, don't know jack shit about you.
Yeah.
All of that. So it's like even more important to be like, let's make sure you're being super duper clear. And I've had that with my character team at UCB where I'm doing a character and like we have a great coach who works with us and we all like give each other notes and it's like, hey, so this joke is feeling off. Like it feels like you're punching in the wrong direction because we need to set up more up top about like where this character is coming from and like what it is you're satirizing. And it's always made the piece a gazillion times better.
I teach
100%.
at UCB and that's like half of my notes to I teach stand-up.
Okay.
And half of my notes to stand-up, you know, is like, hey, this feels, like, I know that you're talking about your autistic uncle and it's funny to you because you have 20 years or 30 of love for this person.
Yeah.
People don't know.
Yeah.
People don't know.
Yeah,
but
but you're opening up by just like you're literally saying, you know, this horrifying thing at the beginning. You don't give them any of that context.
Exactly.
And that's the thing is like that took me a while. It didn't take me a while to understand with TikTok. The thing I've always kept in mind, especially with TikTok. I liked TikTok at first because I thought it was the first online platform where people could understand sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
God, was I wrong?
one.
Because
Yeah.
one of the issues I think that we've had for a long time, especially with stuff like Twitter and Facebook and other things like that, I have friends of mine who are very sarcastic people, and so they will write things ironically. And the people who understand who they are, obviously they get it. But then you would get these other people who come in out of nowhere going, I can't believe you liked this insane thing.
Yeah.
No, I'm liking the fact it's ironic.
Yeah.
People comment on Alise's thing because Alise does these character videos and it's her performing
Yeah.
On a stage.
on a stage at UCB and then they're
Theater tagged as the location.
theater
Yeah.
tagged as the location and she's posting it with, you know, audience laughing.
Yeah. But it's context.
People
club.
don't get
People
people
go,
don't understand.
Is
They're
this
like,
real?
No, they don't. They literally don't understand. But it's one of the things that actually I'd say all the time now why SNL changed. SNL used to be about the live audience that was watching at 11:30 on a Saturday night all across the entire country, and it was aimed mainly at New York, but it was really aimed for the country of people who were home on Saturday at 11:30. SNL is now designed to be watched at 11 a.m. on Sundays.
Sunday, yeah. Clips.
Because that's when the clips are going to start to go viral and all those different things. Or then to be repeated, that idea of a water cooler moment, all those different things. On TikTok especially, one of the things that's insane is every 6 months, a thing that I did goes viral again because somebody steals that content and they re-upload it.
Mhm.
And then whether you had a controversy, whether you had something that did really well, any of this different shit, all of a sudden I look and I go, well, I made a joke a while ago about how Stanley Tucci isn't hot. We did a whole thing. There's a playlist about it on my TikTok. And as my wife said, Stanley Tucci's hot. I just recorded a reaction to her off camera. A lot of women, like in their mid-30s, like tagged me and were like, fuck you. And we thought it was very funny. And then we made an apology video where I was chained up in the basement with a bag over my head and she's holding a gun to my head. And I read a statement that Stanley Tucci can get it. That video got like 1 million views. I'm like,
my
we're
God.
done.
Yeah.
Last week, a bot stole that video.
Oh,
Right now, I
man.
currently have, I want to say like 250 tags on TikTok of people being like, apologize to Stanley Tucci. I did,
Oh,
bitch.
my
It was
God.
2 years ago. Where were you?
That's
But like
so
that
funny.
is the internet though. And that's context collapse. That's all those different things. And so like I have to always like the part that's terrifying now from being a comic who started in 2002, where you would get on stage at an open mic and be concentrating on that room that night
Yeah.
and that moment. Like even this, we're recording this a month in advance. I have to now think, what do I think somebody watching this a month ago might believe?
Well,
You know what I
And
mean?
there's no way to know.
But there's
there's no
also
way to
so
know.
many changing mores. There's
Yeah.
so many different things of what the hot button was. Joe Rogan used to be a liberal. A lot of stuff changes, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
So you could be a Republican in a month. Is
yeah,
what
we
you're saying.
could. They could have finally
They
gotten
could
you.
have got you.
Listen, they've
So
offered enough money and I've turned it down so many times. I feel like I'm
Wow.
building an inoculation.
okay, well, this
They-
is what
they
it
haven't hit
says
my number.
now.
They haven't hit my
your
number.
number.
12.5 million, by the way.
12.5 million.
Wow.
That's to buy me. Do you want my wife? It's 25 for the combo. We're equal.
I mean, me and Alise, 25 million for. No.
yeah,
No.
that
They
gets
might-
you
that
25
might-
million gets you me for 2 years. I'll say whatever you want, and then I'm gone.
Mm.
I'm gonna do
Good
the
to
Hannibal
know.
Buress.
And then
I'll do the
gone
Hannibal
to-
Buress.
Perhaps an island.
Yes.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
An island. Let's get to
Okay.
our
Discourse.
discourse,
Yes.
which our discourse is the segment of the show where we talk about something the internet is talking about, a major topic of conversation.
Mhm.
Today we were well, I just want to do a content warning.
Sure.
We will be talking about sexual assault, self-harm, and we will be talking about the creepiest, nastiest old guys fucking, and you might have a mental picture of that. So please take care of listening. Please take care of any of that is disturbing to you. Please. Okay, so today's discourse is going to be all about the meme Epstein Didn't Kill Himself.
Mm-hmm.
If you are listening to this, we recorded this a few weeks in advance, as mentioned. So Alise can go on her woman's journey.
I'm going on a woman's journey. I'm going to Japan by myself.
She's going to Japan by herself.
I'm jealous.
She's going to Japan, and I'm going to fuck off on some beach somewhere. So if anything major happens in the month between when we recorded and when this comes out, I'm sorry.
If he comes back to life.
He comes back to life. I've been watching Wednesday and there's a zombie in there and I'm like, okay.
Okay.
All right, it could happen. Okay, so let's start this off by going, we know that you know a lot about Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of people know a lot about Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to go over everything just so somebody who doesn't know anything about the Jeffrey Epstein case. Also, I have to say, I kind of knew broad strokes before I researched this. Every single thing that I researched, when I looked half a second into, was so insane and so creepy and disgusting and everything. It just makes me think, how did anyone think this guy was legit at all? Creepy from the start. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't look much into this case. It kind of seemed open and shut to me. This guy was a weirdo, whatever. I didn't even really think that there's some cases that are interesting to me, like the pathology, all this shit. I'm not really there's not really anything interesting, quote unquote, about the Epstein thing, except for the scale and the amount of money that he put behind
the connections.
And the connections and stuff. But it's not for me, I'm not going to learn anything about the human. I guess I am about greed and stuff, but I wasn't really I have to know everything about this because it's going to make me understand humankind more. It was just disgusting.
You weren't like, wait, old rich guys are perverts?
Yeah, exactly.
I have to look deeper into this allegation.
Exactly.
That can't be true.
Yeah.
What?
That can't be true.
Bill Clinton is a pervert?
Oh
What's
my
David
God.
Copperfield doing here?
Oh my God. So, okay. Jeffrey Epstein was born and raised in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
He taught math and physics at a private school called the Dalton School in the mid-70s.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. As a Model UN kid, I'm like, oh, he taught at the Dalton School?
Oh, he didn't graduate from college and taught at the Dalton School math and physics, which is a super, super, super expensive private school.
It is.
So it was crazy to me that a guy who there's nothing wrong with not graduating college. There's nothing wrong with teaching. I think you need now if you're in Florida or Oklahoma, you can teach. If you fucking went to get your GED, probably.
If you have a gun license, you can teach.
Yeah, so
you if you're from New York or California, though, you have to actually state that you're America First now.
Yeah,
they have an
Oklahoma.
America First loyalty test in Oklahoma.
Yeah, but I'm like, what California or New York teacher will go?
They're offering a huge bonus, and that's what's pulling people out there a little bit. But but again, it's all reactionary bullshit.
Yeah. So okay, I was like, what the fuck? This super expensive private school had someone that didn't graduate college teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So here are quotes from an NPR article from July 2019. So these are quotes from an article that came out just days after he was arrested. I think he was arrested on July 9th. This article came out July 19th. Most former Dalton schools agree on at least one thing. Jeffrey Epstein was charismatic. Quote, if you had him as a teacher, then you would have liked him too, says Eve Schuber-Lubin, who was a student during his tenure. The Dalton school where he taught, and again, it had a reputation for teaching talented and rich students. Some remember a skilled educator, intelligent and quick-witted, while others recall a too young teacher who was swarmy, unqualified, and casually social with students. The New York Times first reported last week that 8 former Dalton students said the way that Epstein interacted with teenage girls had stuck with them since high school. Several former students told NPR they remember seeing Epstein surrounded by female students at Dalton, though none recalled any incidences of misconduct. Quote, it was just kind of a circle of girls, says Scott Spicer, who graduated from Dalton in 1976. He was much more present amongst the students, specifically the girl students, during non-teaching hours. It just seemed kind of like it was inappropriate. There was a mild sense. Yeah. So this is the second person saying, there was a mild sense of creepiness when you had a faculty member that girls were paying attention to, it was somewhat disconcerting. This was Carrie Lawrence, also in the class of 1976. But Schubert Lubin, who was Epstein's student for 3 years, remembers it differently. He didn't touch girls or anything. They all hung around him because he was handsome in his sleazy polyester pants. This is what she said. So, okay. So that was fucking creepy. Like immediately, the first line of the thing. Then I looked into, what the fuck? Dalton School. I didn't really know that much about Dalton School. They have their own fucking scandal because a year before Epstein went to jail in 2019, there was in June 2018, there was a lawsuit filed in Newark Federal Court where this student, identified in court records as Jane Doe, alleges that she was repeatedly subjected to sexually touching and groping by the former headmaster in late 1986, early 1987 when she was a student. So a year before Jeffrey Epstein goes to jail for the last time, somebody already had allegations claiming like a 10 years after Jeffrey Epstein left that the principal was creepy. So I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like no wonder that you would have Jeffrey Epstein totally unqualified as a teacher. People remember that his vibe was off and you're not doing anything. And this is truly a very, very prestigious elite school.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and there's a connection to the Trump administration inside that moment there too.
Really?
That's the part that's.
I got you.
She got us. Okay.
We're gonna do it. We're
okay.
getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna give you.
Okay.
Your
No,
floor.
I know. I'm over here.
I'm like,
you're warming up. We're getting there.
Boop.
So, how did Jeffrey Epstein get his money? This is fucking crazy. A father of one of his students was so impressed by Epstein, he put Epstein in charge of a senior partner at the Wall Street investment bank, Bear Stearns, and he was a partner there for 4 years. By 1982, he created his own firm, J. Epstein and Co., which I feel like that should be shirts now. The company managed assets worth more than $1 billion and was an instant success. Epstein soon began spending his fortune, including on a mansion in Florida, a ranch in New Mexico, and reputedly the largest private home in New York City, socializing with celebrities, artists, and politicians. In 2002, Epstein flew former President Bill Clinton and the actors Kevin Spacey and, unfortunately, Chris Tucker. I'm like, what? Chris Tucker, what are you doing?
Chris Tucker,
get the fuck out of the They flew to Africa on a customized private jet. He made an unsuccessful bid to buy New York Magazine with Harvey Weinstein in 2003.
We nearly had a double Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Jeffrey.
Double Jeopardy.
Was it?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna make a
Harvey Epstein. Harvey Epstein.
But a double Jeffrey.
We had a double Jeopardy, which was the Weinstein.
Jeffrey.
Collab.
So the same year that he wanted to buy New York Magazine, he made a $30 million donation to Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
This was all. So while he's doing all this stuff, he's reportedly, quote, shunning society events and dinners in restaurants. Like he won't eat at a restaurant. He won't go to. It's like so fucking weird. He dated women like Miss Sweden winner Ava Anderson Dubin and Ghislaine Maxwell, daughter of publisher Robert Maxwell. He never married. So here's some nice things said about him. This is from Trump. Quote, I've known Jeff for 15 years. He's a terrific guy. He told for a profile on Epstein in 2002. He is a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life. So that's from Trump. But then it wasn't just Trump. Rosa Monckton, the former CEO of Tiffany & Co., told Vanity Fair for a 2003 article that, quote, Epstein was, quote, very enigmatic and a classic iceberg. You think you know him, and then you peel off another ring of the onion skin, and there's something else extraordinary underneath. What you see is not what you get.
Okay.
Everyone's a fucking dumbass.
I know. I'm like, I love being like, he's an iceberg. He's an onion. He's an international pedophile.
He's so deep, like you don't know. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like being a creep in high school, like being that too cool teacher in high school and then getting a job in Wall Street.
No, you don't understand. He had a leather jacket and a motorcycle.
Yeah. Well,
And he said he'd buy me beer.
I mean, I
He's
get why
such
the
a
girls,
cool teacher.
I get why the young kids, and that's what I think what we were saying, what we were saying. I was saying this to like my stand-up class because there's something interesting and whatever, like there is something interesting about like untapped female sexual, that's female sexuality. Like that's why the turning red, like that's why
I was just thinking about that. Yeah, turning red has
like,
the moments. Yeah.
Every teen girl and boy too, like every like young person has a crush on someone they're not supposed to. Likes an older guy. Like that's kind of, there's memes about it of like little girls who are like, oh, I thought my brother's like lacrosse friends were all. That's like normal, but it's like what's wrong is the person who should know better to fucking lean into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're not even talking about
the
his
adult
fucking
taking advantage of it or leaning into it at all.
Exactly.
Especially one that has an authority position like a teacher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and this is not even getting into.
I know.
No.
We haven't
even gotten into this stuff. I did just want to say, I think the thing that's funny about those two quotes that you just read is like, of course, I feel like it's kind of perfect encapsulation of like the Donald Trump we've come to know, because we've got on the one hand this one like lady CEO who's like, he's enigmatic, you never know anything, and Trump's just like, he likes young girls, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that what I like about him, he likes young girls.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, that's Donald Trump.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into his convictions. In 2005, the parents of a 14-year-old girl told police in Florida that Epstein had molested their daughter at his Palm Beach home. A police search of the property found photos of girls throughout the house. The Miami Herald has a really good, like, in-depth report about this and his abuse of underage girls that dated back years. I thought this was a really interesting quote. This was not a he said, she said situation. Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Ryder told the newspaper, quote, this was 50-something she's and one he, and all the she's basically told the same story. So that's what they found. Federal officials identified 36 girls, some as young as 14, whom Epstein had allegedly sexually abused. Epstein pled guilty and was convicted in 2008 by a Florida state court of procuring a child for prostitution and of soliciting a prostitute. He was convicted only of 2 of these crimes, and he got a controversial plea deal.
Yep.
He avoided federal charges, which could have had him seen life in prison, but instead he received an 18-month prison sentence, during which he was able to, on, quote, work release to his office for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and he was released on probation after 13 months. 13 months for sexually trafficking a bunch of girls.
36
girls.
At least in the charges that
at least in those and
yeah.
Then it's because, of course, the Miami Herald says that the federal prosecutor, Alexander Acosta, who was the labor secretary for the Trump administration, struck a plea deal hiding the extent of his crimes and ending an FBI investigation into whether there was more victims or more powerful people who took part. The paper described it as, quote, the deal of the century. So again, in 2008, he got a plea deal from this guy who then later, 10 years later, became Trump's Secretary of Labor because of Epstein's, I don't even know, because Mr. Acosta actually ended up resigning from Secretary of Labor in July 2019, but he says he defended his actions for the Epstein thing. He said at least Epstein got some jail time. Some people wouldn't have given him anything. So great.
Awesome.
Great
system.
So since 2008, Epstein had been listed as a level 3 New York sex offender, and it's supposed to be a lifelong designation, meaning he was at high risk of offending. But Epstein maintained his properties and assets after his conviction. I thought this was funny. None of this is funny, but the situation is funny. In a 2009 deposition, an attorney asked Epstein if he had, quote, back to the Dalton school. An attorney asked Epstein during a deposition if he had any sexual contact with female students while he was at Dalton. Epstein replied, "While I was a teacher?" And then when Epstein answered no, the prosecutor asked if he had any sexual encounters with students after he left the school. Epstein responded, "Not that I remember." Then he was asked if he dated anyone who was previously a student at Dalton, and Epstein evoked the 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment.
14th?
I don't even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got the 14th in there?
We got the 14th.
Yeah, I've seen that clip where he starts just listing off amendments. He's like, "I'd love to answer that question, but I'm just gonna Bill of Rights."
Yeah.
He just listed all of them. You can't put troops in my house. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's that was the one because I've only ever seen 5th. And I was like,
know.
wait,
I was like,
do billionaires get extra amendments?
I know. I was like, I
might.
thought the 5th was enough. Why?
Yeah.
We got 14th in there. That's okay.
They might. So the deposition again came 2 years after Epstein avoided prison time for charges in Florida. So he's a level 3 sex offender in 2008, has this creepy deposition in 2009. In December 2010, Prince Andrew, the third child of Queen Elizabeth, was pictured in New York Central Park with Epstein, drawing controversy. In a BBC interview in 2019, the prince, who had known Epstein since 1999, said he just gone to New York to break off the friendship. He later said he regretted staying at Jeffrey Epstein's house while he was there, and that he had let the side down by doing so, which I guess whatever. But I'm just like, why would you go across the world to, quote, break up with a friend?
Well, you can't do it over the phone.
Yeah.
That's just rude.
Yeah,
To
they've
break
been
up
such
with
close
friendship?
friends.
You can't break
with
up.
With a level 6
No.
3 sexual prosecution.
Okay, I have so many thoughts about Prince Andrew, and the BBC interview that he did is one of my favorite things in the entire world, where he tries to say that he couldn't have been with the woman who accused him of sexual assault because he was at Pizza Express, which is like a Pizza Hut, and they're like, "What?
Yeah.
You, the prince, you were at Pizza Hut?" And then he also says she was like, I guess she described him as sweaty, and he was like, "But that's not true because I can't sweat because of a condition I got when I was in the Falklands War."
And meanwhile, he's sweating in the interview.
Yeah,
it's
visibly
like
sweating.
pouring sweat. It's the meme. It's the
Yeah.
Key and Peele meme. The sweat is pouring off his face. He's like, "I don't sweat." You're like, "What? You're doing it right now."
Also, this is one last thing before you get back to the timeline.
No,
Recently on Twitter, I saw, so it was like someone had posted a picture of Trump and Epstein to be like, like whatever, like these two, like look how close friends they are. Like here they are at a party together, and it's like Trump, Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. And someone who I guess is a Trump supporter responded back, and they circle a person who's also in the photo, like in the background, and they're like, "Oh, well, this guy's there. Is he a pedophile too?" And everyone's like, "So yeah, that's Prince Andrew," and he
part of
fully
it.
is.
Like legit Epstein. Like the thing that's known very well about Epstein is that he was basically like a selfie hound. So it's like if you got near any famous person, he would try to take a picture with them. But also, it's weird because when you have if it's a one-off, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Everybody, I do meet and greets after my shows. I'm sure that there is pictures of me with monsters just because they came to the show and they go, "I like him," so we do the picture. We're on the 7th picture though. It's like, it's crazy how you're on the same pedophile tour.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow,
Okay.
that Carnival cruise stopped at just that one island 7 times.
I mean, truly, like it just made me laugh so
It's just
much.
fucking, it's so insane. But I'll let you finish because I have so many thoughts.
I know. So we're just gonna get into the meme real quick. So again, on July 8th, 2019, federal prosecutors charged Jeffrey Epstein with 1 count of sex trafficking a minor and 1 count of conspiracy to commit sex trafficking. Following the incident, Epstein pled not guilty on both charges. So about a month later, on August 10th, 2019, the medical, he died by suicide. The medical examiner ruled that his death was suicide by hanging, but Epstein lawyers have disputed the ruling, and there has been, again, significant skepticism of the true cause of his death. So that was in August. In November, the meme, as more of the circumstances of his death start coming out, October is where the Epstein Didn't Kill Himself meme arises,
Yeah.
but really it gets popular in November. And again, it's a phrase that's used to reject the official cause of death of Jeffrey Epstein. People think, again, because of Epstein's connection to rich and powerful people, he reported his reported suicides. People think that it was caused by powerful people. Okay. And like this usage, generally people think that it was a homicide, not a suicide, especially strangulations. Some people think like all rich people conspired to kill him, and a lot of people on the right think Hillary Clinton killed Epstein to protect Bill, which I'm just like, she would have had to kill a lot more people than just Jeffrey Epstein.
People on the right think she does have a lot more people under her belt. They think she's killed many.
And that was the leaning on the meme.
Yeah.
And that was like, because when you saw the meme really starting to be pushed, especially by politicians back in 2019, it was like Paul Gosar. It was a lot of fringe guys, Marjorie Taylor Greene and others, like they're pushing it again because they were trying to draw a line that said all Democrats are pedophiles. Look at how the Clintons, because when people think of the Clintons, they think of Democrats. And so like, look at these guys together. And even back then I was like, but there's all these pictures of your guy right here. And so that's
what always has shook me about it, is that I'm like, no, for sure, I agree kind of with the basis of the meme, which is that I don't know what.
It's shady.
Yeah,
death.
it's a shady situation. But I'm like, but you can't tell me Donald Trump wasn't involved with that, and all your weird people. I feel like they, if I was going to subscribe to one of the conspiracy theories, if I was going to do that, mine would be that they all met together, like Justice League style, like all like in the middle of the night, and it's like Bill Clinton steps forward.
The Hall of Pedophiles.
Yeah, just like Trump steps forward, they all shake hands, and they're like, tonight we're just pedophiles together. Tonight we're putting it all aside.
There's no Republican, no Democrat, no libertarian.
Pedophiles.
Well, actually, tonight we're all libertarians.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I feel like the reason why the right globbed onto this is because the meme, I mean, I have the picture of like the original meme that came out on October 2nd in 2019. And it says, okay, some say Xbox is the best. Some say PlayStation is the best. But deep down, we all know Epstein didn't kill himself. That was from iFunny by a user, Mr. Fate77. So it started.
I mean, that's the thing but that was the thing that was cross party.
Everybody. But then Joe Rogan shared it. It showed up on Reddit on October 21st, and then 4 days later, Joe Rogan shared it. So it's another bad thing we can blame on Joe Rogan. But I feel like Joe Rogan started the thing. So then Joe Rogan shared it, and then we had the 85-year-old forensic pathologist who went on Fox News on October 30th and basically said on the Jesse Waters show. Oh wait, no, this is different. Somebody goes on Fox News, and it's Michael Baden, who'd been hired by Mark Epstein to observe his brother's autopsy. Basically, this guy says, oh, well, the evidence points to homicide rather than suicide. People took on to that because, again, it was this guy on Fox News saying it. So, again, Joe Rogan said it. Then we have somebody else on Fox News saying it. The guy who said it was on the Epstein fucking payroll. He, of course, whatever.
Yeah.
Then on Jesse Waters' show, former Navy SEAL and founder of the Warrior Dog Foundation, Mike Ritland, asked if he could give a PSA. And after he was told that he could, he basically was like, if you see the coverage about combat dogs and you decide, I want one of these dogs, either buy a fully trained and finished dog from a professional or just don't get one at all. That, and Epstein didn't kill himself. So,
yep.
So
I remember that. I remember that meme going viral. I seeing it all over Twitter, and speaking that clip in particular, because it was a very short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that again, that started this thing where it was like funny. It was like, I've heard things of people using it like kind of like rickrolled, of like trying to put it in as many random places, like Bob Ross paintings, or at the end of a social media post as a non sequitur. Paul Gosar, like you said, this is crazy because it's like you can see clearly how each of them is trying to distract from the bigger part of the story. Paul Gosar, which we knew, but it was like he was live tweeting Wednesday, an impeachment hearing.
Yeah.
And the first letter of each of the Arizona Republicans' 23 tweets spell out Epstein didn't kill himself. So then it becomes like several users on dating apps have it in their profiles. If people accept this meme as a presence, I think, okay, so it's on Art Basel, it's on vandalism and all this stuff. I guess you're like, how did this happen? Or like, why didn't people, like, how could people believe this theory or something? I feel like this meme it's a corny joke that I feel like, and me personally, I want to hear your thoughts about the meme before we get into like the reaction now, 5 years later. And then I know we gotta,
we'll get to Pearl.
We'll get to Pearl. But to me, I'm just like, the meme format is similar to like the Chuck Norris, like Chuck Norris, this, that, like, it's just like a stupid meme that's like kind of the Republican ethos of like, cause to me, I'm like, I disengage. Like, you guys don't care about these girls, these 50, 60, whatever, how many girls that were fucking raped by this guy and all these powerful people. It's just a fucking joke to you. And it just became this marker and this joke of like, mostly by men who don't care.
Well, it's the same
like
thing.
A funny random joke.
Just to bring it up to today, it's the same thing in 2024 when you have people like Donald Trump, you have Elon Musk, and these other guys saying that they have to protect women's sports. And now 6 months later, they're throwing dildos onto the court while WNBA games are there.
Yeah.
It's never, they're using it. It was a means to an end. The idea of Epstein didn't kill himself is with all of these different things. When you look at pipelining people, you always, with pseudoscience, pseudopolitics, any of these different types of things, you always start in a thing that we can all kind of agree on a little bit. And the idea of there's something shady happened here. There's something here doesn't line up is everyone can agree on that. That's the thing is about when it comes to Epstein. Now, you then you have the fork in the road.
Yes.
Was it Killary? Because remember, they was also trying to bring bring that back. Is this Killary or is this something else? And so it was either going to be Killary or it was going to be the CIA or Mossad, or there's all these the connections.
Can't be Mossad.
When you has all these different monies and things like that in there that they drip in. But this is where Rogan and the conspiracy guys come in. They love the idea of it being anything.
Yeah.
And the thing is the more suspects you throw out, the crazier it is that you never mention the president of the United States, who is literally in charge of the Bureau of Prisons, where he's being held, who has 40 plus pictures of himself on Google image search together, who stated he knew he was a pedophile, who is really good friends with it. Like that's the part that was driving me crazy, but the media never touched on it in any sort of way. They let fringe figures from the right, the left, specifically Democrats, especially corporate and centrist Democrats, they don't want to touch this at all because they have this view that somewhere, you do everything for Peoria. Peoria, Illinois was the old thing. Will this sell in? Will this play in Peoria? Will this do in the middle of nowhere? And so they have this idea in their head that there is this little old lady out there that if you mention, Donald Trump, he used to hang out with a pedophile, she'll be so upset that you even mentioned pedophiles exist.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, that lady, she's been watching Jillian Michaels' podcast and her brain's fucking cooked. But like we're in this,
that lady could have been a victim. You know what I mean?
But there's a lot of different things, and so it became
not Jillian Michaels' podcast.
Yeah, no, her podcast now is all about Epstein and shit. Like she's been fully. We just did an episode of Too Many Tabs.
I gotta watch it. Yeah.
We just did an episode of the Too Many Tabs podcast, which you can find youtube.com/Pearlmania500.
20-minute mark.
But the thing is with this in these cases, and it's the thing that I've always found interesting about memes. I also have a sub theory that the reason the QAnon conspiracy exists was partially to distract from this, because this ties in with Q. Now, let's face it. You have a president. You have a man who is running for president, or once he became president, who owned 2 teen girl beauty pageants, was best friends with the most prolific pedophile in the United States that was not a Catholic priest.
That stopped talking to him.
And then has all these other different issues. And then there's some other shadiness and connections running all throughout his entire administration, to the point where in Trump 1, it felt like you had to have at least met with Jeffrey Epstein twice to end up in his cabinet. In Trump 2 term, it feels like you have to have killed a dog or abused a woman.
Yeah.
That's the way to get in for Trump 2. But like all these connections are there. And it just, in my video that I made about it with my chart, my big question to the conspiracy guys, the Alex Joneses of the world, the all these other different people who love to play this game is, why the fuck did you never tie a red string in this direction?
Yeah.
And to a point where it actually is now more suspicious that you never brought him up with everything else that we have. And like, they've tried some cover stories of, well, once he found out, you know, he immediately banned him from everything. I'm like, okay, you banned him, but you didn't call the cops?
Yeah.
Oh, the guy who gave him the sweetheart deal is the one that you then made the Secretary of Labor?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that school that he was hired at, he was actually hired by Donald Barr. And the reason why Alex Acosta, who was the Secretary of Labor,
Yeah.
the reason why the story rebroke in the Miami Herald is because there was the original Trump Attorney General was the man named Jeff Sessions, Jeff Beauregard Sessions,
Yes.
who was a
remember
huge
Jeff.
racist from, I think, Alabama.
Yeah.
We remember Jeff.
Massive, like, cartoon racist.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, like, you're like Foghorn Leghorn talking racist,
I
crazy.
remember his,
And he and Trump had a falling out because he was like, I want to be more racist. And Trump was like, weirdly, on this, like, this is, oh my God. So they had a falling out and they broke up. And there was Alex Acosta's name got thrown out there of maybe we'll make him an attorney general. When the Miami Herald was like, he was down here, let's look into him. Hey, this is weird. You maybe shouldn't make that guy the attorney general since he was letting pedophiles off with sweetheart deals. That story breaks. They bring in Bill Barr. Bill Barr became the second attorney general. Bill Barr knew Jeffrey Epstein because his dad, Donald Barr, worked at the Dalton School and is the one who hired him.
Is this your chart?
Oh
Let's go
my
to the
God.
chart.
This is the chart.
We could talk
Okay.
about the
Yeah.
chart.
So this chart was just a thing that I put together. Again, my wife wasn't home. But we've actually had this for a while because for my podcast, we've had this image of me pointing to it's the Pepe Silva meme.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
you're tying things together. It's a beautiful mind, all those different things. But again, when people think conspiracy, this is what they think of. And so I
we
did
have
this.
Donald Trump, Bill Barr,
Yep.
Alexander Acosta,
Yep.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep. And Ghislaine Maxwell to the
Ghislaine
side.
Maxwell. Okay, so what's the 10K?
10K, 4K is the 10K hours of child abuse material that was found in DVDs inside of Jeffrey Epstein's home.
Jesus Christ.
This is the stuff that actually all of this when the FBI and the DOJ announced that there is no list. And I don't think there ever was truly a list, but they based the idea was we're never going to release any of the files behind this. We're not going to, but they're just like, it doesn't even exist. We're like, we can point to all these articles and statements from the past of like, we know that there is this 10K hours of something.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
So I wrote 10K and 4K. The 4K is a joke, but we caught you in 4K.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
10K and 4K.
we have 10K of
Gotcha.
high quality footage.
Yeah, okay,
The
okay.
list is they kept saying there's a list. Even Tim Dillon, not Tim Dillon, even JD Vance went on to Theo Von's podcast, and there's the clip of him going, Theo Von goes, release the list. And of course, JD Vance being the black hole of fucking conversation, goes, yes, release the Jeffrey Epstein list. But in that, with the 10K, 4K, Tim Dillon recently, do you guys know who Tim Dillon is?
Yes, we know Tim
I know.
Dillon.
My apologies. Tim Dillon, who has also been trying to run a funny cover for these guys while also pretending he's not being a part of it,
Of course.
talked about how he had dinner with JD Vance.
Yeah.
And while having dinner with JD Vance, he mentioned the 10K hours, the 10,000 hours of abuse material that they had on DVDs. And you know what JD Vance said? He said it was commercial grade. It's commercial grade pornography.
Oh.
And it's like, what? And they're just claiming that these are just DVDs, porn DVDs, and all these different things. Or these are just random things that he got from the internet. None of this is an image of one of these rich and powerful men, which, again, we know that he had because when the pictures of his house, there's a camera in every fucking corner.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is exactly how Hulk Hogan got the sting because the guy, Mancow, had secret fucking recordings of Hulk Hogan for the Hulk Hogan sex tape.
Well,
that Peter Thiel then it gets, okay, that's a
Yeah.
whole other,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a whole
yeah.
other string. I'm sorry.
but also, like, Epstein did keep records on people for blackmail
did have a
purposes.
black
Yes.
book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is how we believe he got most of his money. That's how most people believe that he actually was able to get money and to convince you to
For the
invest.
Lolita Express, yeah.
Yeah, it's for all that different stuff. So on this though, so I have Ghislaine, I always call her Ghislaine by accident. That's my hoagie mouth from Delco. That's not an actual joke. But Ghislaine Maxwell, you can see I have a tie to her, to Donald Trump, because again, they have a relationship there. On the top area is in orange. That's Trump term 1. The bottom area is in green. that's Trump turn 2, because I wanted to point out on this at the very bottom, you can see KP for Kash Patel, and then
Pam Bondi.
Yeah, and Pam Bondi is the other one on there. But I also have RFK Jr. because RFK Jr. rode on the Lolita Express twice.
Wow.
And there are images of him like meeting with Jeffrey Epstein. He knows who Jeffrey Epstein is. You know how I know RFK Jr. rode on the Lolita Express twice?
Because you were there.
No, because Andrew Schultz asked him about it.
Wow.
Because again, RFK Jr. has always been part of this plot for Trump term 2, which is why he did the podcast tours. And while he was on those, a lot of these podcast guys, Andrew Schultz in particular, which I talked about on my podcast, Too Many Tabs.
We talked about too. We talked about him because of his racist shit against black women.
Yeah.
Where he got called out against Kendrick Lamar. And he made fun of the Black Girlfriend Challenge.
But all of these guys in the Rogan verse, all of them have had moments where they bring up this Epstein stuff because it's interesting, but also in the conspiracy space, we can just yap about this for hours. We want to fill a 3 or 4 hour podcast. There's so many strings we can pull on. We can go on a whole different distance on here. So I wanted to point out about how both terms of this administration have connections to Epstein. These people like Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, and Kash Patel, they had, Pam Bondi didn't, but Kash Patel and Dan Bongino had their own podcasts where that were monetized, where they talked about how they wanted to release the Epstein list, and they made this their entire thing.
Yeah.
So the fact that they got there and then they say, we're not going to release it and none of this different stuff. So I finally was like, fuck it. I'm going to speak the language that these people, conspiracy people, speak in, and the way these podcast bros have spoken in, because I've also been doing stand-up as long as them. I've been doing podcasts as long as them. Let's talk about it. Since you guys, I've never stepped into this space, but it's always been one of those things where my sponge brain goes, that's interesting. Why aren't they bringing that up? And it's mostly been me screaming at the television. Like honestly, if Kamala Harris had looked over at him during the debate, and had been like, shut up, you fucking pedophile.
Yeah.
It would have moved the needle in a way I don't think people understand.
Yeah.
And there was so much of it. There was a lot of us when Tim Walz was going on the whole Republicans are weird thing. There was a lot of people, especially on Blue Sky and on Twitter, were like, we need Democrats to point out all of these weird pedophile connections they have and all this weird creepiness that they've been doing, especially towards girls, because this is after a whole 2 years, 3 years specifically of them labeling every single fucking trans person in America as a groomer, every teacher as a groomer, every librarian as a groomer. And so if these random people, like my friend who got targeted by libs of TikTok, if these random people can have their whole fucking life blown up, then why isn't the president of the United States, who ran multiple teen girl beauty pageants for money, who had a boat full of young girls in 1991, that they were being plied with alcohol, being driven around the Statue of Liberty for a photo shoot? Why is this fucking man with all of these different connections, who, when Ghislaine Maxwell got arrested, said into a microphone in the press room, standing behind the presidential seal of the United States, saying, I wish her well?
Yeah.
Why was that never? Why did Alex Jones never mention it? Why did Joe Rogan never mention it? Why did all these other fucking guys going down the list? Why was any of this stuff mentioned? Part of it is because it was memory hold due to COVID.
Yeah.
A lot of us who are noticing and going, that's kind of, because he famously, Donald Trump cannot handle this.
Yeah.
This is the one thing that he can't fucking handle, because I don't think he wants to explain it.
No.
Because he has no real easy way to pivot, and I think it was just long enough ago that I think he doesn't remember what his lies are about it.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, COVID happened, whole new conspiracy brain happens around with RFK Jr. and with the vax and lockdowns and all this different shit. It's a huge distraction from this thing, which is why everyone's eyes just got away from it. But while the most of us were washing Doritos with soap and trying to figure out how to get a K95 mask and trying to figure out, do we even care about these fucking social distancing stickers? Why are they still here anymore?
Yeah.
This subsect of guys like Kash Patel, like Joe Rogan, like Andrew Schultz, and all these others created a parallel information entertainment economy that was banking on this particular story. And they were selling a lie that they were going to give you the end of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You're actually going to finally get the winds of winter. And here we are, just like the other
George
one.
R.R. Martin.
George R.R. Martin. We're never getting the end of that book.
No.
And it's mainly because dude's been partying pretty hard.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's where this, and like the tiny conspiracy, just bringing it up to now. It's a month from now is when this will be released, right? I have stopped posting about this on TikTok because every video I've made, including that one, has been pulled, demonetized, or completely content struck by the
Incredible.
platform.
Wow.
It is being, and we've been actively told across all different layers, from management through other influence I know to people who work inside of these different social media companies, that right now the Trump administration is leaning on social media companies harder than ever before. TikTok is one in particular that
Yeah,
they have
just have the new community guidelines that they put out.
but they have a 90-day kill switch. Every 90 days, Donald Trump says, I'm going to let them operate for another 90 days. So if TikTok is where people are finding out that there is deep connections between the president of the United States and America's most prolific pedophile, and Victoria's Secret and David Copperfield and all these other fucking guys, then if I was a mob boss, I would just go, well, you're not operating here anymore.
Yeah.
And that's where that's come. And so like that change, it makes sense. Again, all of this is just Occam's razor. It just makes sense. And like, listen, at the end of the day, I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
I'm a shock comedian, according to Philadelphia
Well,
Inquirer,
I just think
and I'm
that's
just
what-
yapping.
I
Content
feel like
creator, non-derogatory.
Well, I just feel like shock comedian is what you call white comedians now.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
let's really quickly just watch Andrew Schultz's reaction to Trump's administration not releasing the thing.
Andrew Schultz and the Flagrant crew broke down the entire Jeffrey Epstein cover-up, including a brutal roast of Kash Patel on a great new episode of Flagrant.
Obviously, this whole blackmail ring that has tied in American presidents, Israeli prime ministers, the royal family. Now that we know that that is completely false, and all these people were just good friends. Like Bill Gates going to like someone who has already been convicted of pedophilia, just going to his house to talk business is like a normal thing. So you're telling me there's 1,000 girls that have been by Epstein and none of his cohorts.
Correct.
None of his cohorts.
So they should be celebrated.
None of them want to be.
And they released the footage from the cell 2 floors down from him. They show the video with a minute missing. That minute, according to Pam Bondi, is from when the cameras like reset. So you know, like you got the footage and then it resets. So like basically the camera goes.
That's a good recording device, Mark.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted a recording device to record every second of a day, just in case something happened,
In a very high security
probably be the highest security jail in the world. It would probably be pretty smart for there just to be a minute-long gap.
Yeah, I periodically, like over and over.
By the way,
a suicide watch section of all. Yeah, but you know how that is. You film your stand-up shows
all the time.
You know, and you'll film, and then 1 minute in the middle of your hour, it'll reset.
Yeah, exactly.
But they said that they're going to release footage from the day before and the day after to prove the minute misses every single day at the same time, because every day records.
Oh, that's you can't doctor that in any way.
Is there any way that they can get us the footage of the cell or of a cell close to his? Can we
I don't
see
think
the
so. I
people
don't think
moving
prisons have
around?
surveillance like that. I think they just film in the corners. Like,
Got it.
Only corners.
That makes sense. It's insulting our intelligence. Like, obviously, the intelligence community is trying to cover it up. Obviously, the Trump administration is trying to cover up. Something changed because they ran on this idea of exposing it all. All these guys had great ideas. Cockeyed Cash. He was ready to tear down the entire FBI office.
Shut down the Hoover building day one.
Day one.
That bitch still standing.
And then he goes on Joe Rogan and he's like, listen, do you think if I had it, I wouldn't share it with you? Yeah,
I do.
I do believe that 100%, especially when you're staring at me like this.
Yeah, thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it's funny to like briefly agree with anything that's being said by Andrew Schultz and those people. Like, yeah, no, it is wild that they try to say that there's a minute missing from the security footage because the security camera resets.
Well, what you're seeing there, and what's happening for these guys in particular is that's cope. That's 100% cope. But really, what they're all of them are mad at, especially with this initial rollout from Pam Bondi and Bongino and from Kash Patel and from Trump himself, was all of these guys were making content that they were aiming at Trump and his people, basically saying, "Please let us help you.
Yeah.
Please let us." I mean, you've heard it recently. If they were talking about having Joe Rogan try to figure out some way of pivoting away from this. Charlie Kirk made a video that was like, "I'm done talking about this. I trust my friends in the government." All these different guys. And in his case, in Schultz's case, he's trying to play up, "Oh, look, we're the idiots. We have our little stupid tinfoil hat on. Oh, we're just being conspiracy guys. Look at us. I guess we're just dumb." No, you're just dumb. You got clocked by the world's greatest grifter and the best friend of America's most prolific pedophile. He came onto your podcast, repeatedly. You never asked him about it once.
Yeah.
You never said once that you had an NDA that said you couldn't ask him about it.
Yeah.
You chose in that moment because in reality, what Andrew Schultz and all these different guys saw, they saw a chance to pop a rating.
Yeah.
They said, I have a really great guest that's going to pop this rating. And when you look at Schultz, we talked about it on my podcast, Too Many Tabs podcast.
Yeah, I listened to that podcast.
But when we talk
I
about
listened to that episode, and I listened to a lot of episodes.
Yeah, but
I
in that,
remember that's why we put this up.
I
That's
know.
why we picked this.
But in that though, his numbers were actually starting to trend down, and so he aligned himself with this president. And now, like Mark Maron's been saying on his comedy tour and things like that, congratulations, you've been advocating for this. You advocated for this specific guy right after the election. You said all those guys sitting on that couch were like, "We did this.
Yeah.
We
We're
moved
so
the needle.
excited. We're happy.
Yeah, we did this. The
We're-
Flagrant podcast did. The podcast bros did this. Okay, cool. You declared everything is your fault now.
Yeah.
So stop pretending it's not, and take the stupid little, what I said on the pod before, take the stupid little hat on, lean into the camera, and Andrew Schultz should say Donald Trump is has never been or has not been aligned with a pedophile. And then enjoy your audience. Enjoy your Patreon after that, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, John Marco called him out on it a while ago, and then Andrew
Yes.
Schultz got fucking defensive about it on fucking Twitter and tried
I
to pick a
know.
fight.
Yeah.
I know.
It was fucking crazy. The whole thing is crazy. But also it's because these boys like to pretend they're big muscle guys, and you're not. You're a comedian, and comedians are fucking clowns. If you want to
Yeah.
be a muscle guy, go be a muscle guy. Go join
Yeah.
the fucking army. Go get a real job.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like I don't think I could beat Andrew Schultz's ass like completely, but it would be a tough fight.
Yeah.
Me and Andrew Schultz,
You would put up a fight.
I'd
for
put
sure.
up a fight for sure.
He's
Because he's
not-
a little taller.
Yeah.
But he's a little weak, and I could push him down and stomp him.
No, listen,
Yeah.
I
And
know.
he'll like it.
I know he's mentally weak because he grew the mustache to distract from his ears.
Oh,
That's why he has that performative male mustache.
wow. From
You
his
know?
ears. Listen,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like the mustache problem.
Speaking of mental weakness.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of cursed conservative influencers, it is time now to move to our final segment.
Oh, good.
This segment is called Grasshole of the Week. Now, the way this segment normally works when we're not banking episodes is that we declare the person that week who needs to log off the most. But because we are banking episodes, what we have been doing is there are certain people who have been inducted into our Grasshole Hall of Fame, where
yeah.
it's just understood they're forever Grasshole. We don't need to even get into it anymore. This
Yeah.
is Elon Musk. This is
J.K.
J.K. Rowling.
Rowling,
This is 50
Kanye
Cent.
West,
Kanye
50
West.
Cent,
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate,
People where it's like if they
Bethany
were
Frankel.
Bethany Frankel has been added.
Yeah.
People where it's like if they were still in the running, it would be them every week.
Yeah.
So we just have to say they exist apart.
Mm,
So today, in honor of having you here,
thank you.
we are inducting a new member into our Grasshole Hall of Fame. In honor of Pearlmania, we are inducting Pearl.
Yes.
Ah,
AKA at Just Pearly Things. If we go to this slide. So this is Pearl.
Also Ginger.
Also Ginger. With a pearl handle.
With the pearl
But cursed.
hander.
I know.
But a cursed version.
I every day with her is a nightmare. The fact that we have just enough traits in common
Yeah.
is an issue for me.
What
on the
if
internet.
she's secretly Miss Pearlmania?
She's not. I want to be
She's
very
not.
clear about that. She is not.
Miss Pearl-
Okay? She did date Angry Reactions at one point.
Yeah. Oh.
Who's Angry Reaction?
He's like the big guy, Wanye.
Yes. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's it. Okay. So I have his real name
Yes.
on here. That is, we'll get into her dating life, but that is like the only person that we know for sure she has dated.
Yeah.
Is
He's
Angry
black, right?
Reactions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay,
He
okay.
makes like a mad face, and he would be like, he's a very large man,
Mm-hmm.
And
and he's
he's
very dark
Republican?
skinned. No, he's not. He just would dated her. And then as she was taking off, she pivoted hard right.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into
Yeah.
all of this.
Okay,
okay,
So
okay.
let's do. So we're looking
Always
at
ahead,
Pearl.
always
But real
ahead.
quick. The reason why I can't stand her is some people on the internet call me Pearl or Pearls sometimes. Because people like to take the name you're known for and shorten it. And a lot of people don't realize that Pearlmania is just, I added an IA to the end of Pearlman, my
Yes.
actual last
Yeah.
name. So like, if you see me on the street, please don't call me Pearl. Call me Alex, Al, Pearlmania. Those are all fine. But I've had times where a person will be making content, especially on TikTok, about her, and they'll be like, I hate that redheaded bitch Pearl. And then there'll be like MAGA people and like Jill Stein bots are like, yeah, we also hate Pearl Mania. And they're like, who the fuck are you talking about? And then there's a back and forth. And so there's been times where she has been super racist and problematic. And then people have demanded that I apologize because it's whisper down the fucking lane. And I'm like, I've never met her. I hate her.
Okay.
And she's very dumb.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are going to make the difference quite clear here
Thank you.
today.
Right now, today.
Yeah.
It ends today.
It ends.
Yeah.
It ends with us.
Right now.
Right now.
So this Pearl, her name is Hannah Pearl Davis. This is from her Wikipedia page. She is an American YouTuber and cultural and political commentator, a self-described anti-feminist. She is known primarily for her cultural and political commentary relating to modern sex relations, dating. She is an advocate of traditional dating and marital relations. She's critical of modern dating relations and the effects of feminism. Davis argues that modern women have been deceived by a dysfunctional culture of sex and dating, and that they should embrace traditional approaches to dating and marriage to achieve long-term happiness. She is sometimes described as the female Andrew Tate. So not the female Pearl Mania. The female Andrew Tate.
Did you say you got that from her Wikipedia?
Yep.
She has a Wikipedia.
She does.
Everyone
I
has
don't
a
have a Wikipedia.
She has a Wikipedia. It is
You don't
detailed.
have a website with a bio, and that was hard for me.
Oh, is that what it is? Is that what I need? Oh, I need one in general?
You need one in general.
Okay,
Get
gotcha.
a Squarespace with a bio.
No, that's a good point. No, this is a good note. This is a good note because
with
I don't.
with some headshots.
Yeah, no. I'm actually we're working on some of that stuff right now. It's been piecemeal how we're putting stuff together.
I know. We're getting there. But
okay.
she got
But back to this monster
So
with her
she
Wikipedia.
She has a Wikipedia page, and let me tell you, the controversy section is popping off. The controversy section is detailed. So she is 28 years old. She was born in Chicago, grew up like outside of Chicago. Went to Elmhurst University, played college volleyball. She's one of 10 siblings. So here's the interesting thing was right now, she only has 21.7 thousand followers on Instagram. That's less than me.
More than me, though. More than me.
But just a little.
Just a little. I had more, and then every time we posted a selfie, we could lose 1,000.
It's tough out there.
So
People only want reels. She was banned from TikTok in 2022. She had a forced log off there. The powers that be said, go touch grass. You're a grasshole.
Yep.
But she did at one point have 900,000 followers on TikTok, and her Just Pearly Things podcast account has 410,000 subscribers.
Okay.
Where she still exists in a big way today is on YouTube, where she has 2 million subscribers.
Oh my God.
Oh, really?
Yes. So she initially.
How's that landing on you? It hurts.
No, it's fine. It's YouTube has been a thing. It's like I'm an audio podcaster first.
Yeah.
And TikTok and all those different things. YouTube hurt my brain more than anything else. YouTube analytics.
It's tough.
Is the
Yeah.
wild west.
But I'm wondering if with Pearl, once she did her, we'll get into it a little more. I have a theory about some of these people, why their numbers are the way they are.
Yeah. I think she was kind of run off every other platform. So if you want Pearl content, you do kind of have to go to YouTube. So, okay, she initially gained popularity in 2020 for this thing she would do called the breakup quiz, where she would have people fill out a form about their most recent breakup, and then she would like diagnose why they broke up. And that's kind of how she got into this weird like relationship guru space that she kind of ended up in. But those videos were not conservative like that, and that is around the time where she was dating this guy, Angry Reactions, whose name I have here somewhere, his full name. I'll get to it at some point. But anyway, that's like the only time that we actually do know that she like had a boyfriend at all. So she pops off with that. Then she gets to like 100,000 followers with that, right? Then she moves to London in May of 2022. And this is where she really pops off because she starts doing these man on the street interviews where she asks shit like, is sleeping around different for men or women? What does a woman's body count matter?
Oh,
and
God.
my assessment is she starts popping off for asking these spicy sort of anti-feminist questions.
Yeah.
And then she decides, oh, I can make money if I become this like guy's girl anti-feminist mouthpiece.
Attention economy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like her big thing. Her big thing are men are at the disadvantage in dating. Feminist women want too much from men. Sleeping around makes you undesirable. She once told Business Insider men are discriminated against in society by the legal system and feminists at large. She said divorce shouldn't be allowed.
Okay.
She says that dating and sexual behavior has made modern women choose soft polyamory as the outcome of dating.
I mean,
She's just making up words.
well,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I mean, I get it.
But-
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I understand. Listen, from talking, especially like I was up here recently, and like the last couple of days, I went to an influencer event. I'm talking to women who are in their early 20s, and I'm like,
Yeah.
there's a whole generation of guys whose brains are cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to
Porn
the apps,
addiction.
but it's not
Porn
even just that.
addiction.
It's also just like the apps and how they don't view anyone as people
Yeah.
Yeah.
until like maybe on like the 5th date, they'll be like, "Oh, you have feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you feel pain when you get hurt." It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, idiot. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I'm getting a divorce. Sorry, Pearl. And getting back.
good for you.
into-
Good for you.
Sorry,
This
Pearl.
Pearl's proud of
Thank
you.
you. I have
For
one
that's
sticking
why
up
they're
for
different.
yourself.
And that's why they're different. That's why
And
That
they're
is
one of
that's
the
100%.
differences.
That's why they're different.
Yeah.
But it has been crazy to get back into like step into the apps in any way, shape, or
told
form,
Alise
and
it
just
was
have
ghetto out
it
here.
be immediately insane. But so here's the thing, and this is like the contradiction of Pearl, is that she's talking all this shit about modern women and dating.
Mhm.
This is why you don't have a man, and this is why you don't have a husband. Again, the only boyfriend we've ever known her to have is from 2020 to 2021 when she dated Anaya Johnson, who is
Yeah.
Angry Reactions.
Yep.
Otherwise, no confirmed relationships for Pearl. There are always rumors that they're like, Pearl has a homeless boyfriend or like whatever, but we don't actually
I mean,
know.
Most women in their, it's a
I
canon
know.
event for most women.
But the thing is, so the thing is like the guy that she's trying to attract would immediately have to take away everything that she's built.
Exactly.
Because that's what she's saying the entire time is like, women shouldn't have jobs. They shouldn't have this. They shouldn't have autonomy. You should be bowing to a man. All these different things. It's like, okay, you're going to do a live stream and not, because listen, if in this world you created a character who Pearl gets a chance to do a live stream where she can be seen by 500,000 people, or she can make him a sandwich. And
Yeah.
under her own rules she's building, she needs to default to the sandwich first, which
Well,
is
exactly.
insane. Like,
Totally. You're,
But
that's,
Sorry, but I feel like it's like rage bait.
it is.
Like, it's so interesting. I heard a thing yesterday on NPR, which was really good, about like how creators like Bonnie Blue have combined, like, people view them as porn people, but it's more like Mr. Beef. It's like rage and sex together
yeah.
is always going to get more eyes. And that's why these girls fuck 600 guys in a day, 1,000 guys in a day, 100 guys in a day. And I feel like it's the same thing with Pearl. It's like she doesn't really believe any of this shit. She's just combining dating content, which is, there's so much content out there about how to game Hinge so that you can see more people and how to do this and how to do that and who should pay for what and all that. Because these are real conversations that are happening as patriarchy is slightly weakening a little bit, not really. And, rage bait. She's doing both.
Yeah.
Well, it's analytics, as you're saying, is the same thing with Real Rogan's target was MMA guys. The Andrew Schultz podcast was basketball. Flagrant 2 is a basketball foul.
Yeah.
Like all these different things that are happening is like her stuff targeting the dating is like you're saying, it's high SEO content. I'm home on a Friday night. I'm sad. I can't get a girl. How do I get a girl? Why isn't Hinge working for me? These are different things that she's going to put in the titles, or all these different guys. And the thing is that Nazis learned a long time ago, and what the Republican Party and conservatives have discovered from a very long time ago, is you can make a mass production line of how to pipeline and groom, especially young men who are alone on the internet. They started with 4chan. They learned over there of how to take it from ironic racism to real racism, from ironic misogyny to real misogyny, and then spin that into QAnon and all these other different types of things. But in Pearl's case, what I would guess with her numbers is much like Charlie Kirk, part of that secondary tier isn't just SEO. I wonder if she actually has financial backing that is paying for ads to put her stuff into YouTube ads. Because people who watch my podcast, Too Many Tabs podcast, wherever you watch YouTube, but anybody who watches it, who doesn't have, like I have YouTube Premium right now, but like I get comments all the time. This is so funny. As I'm watching this, you screamed about Tim Pool, and then I got an ad for the Tim Pool cast.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
get
Russia money.
Yeah, no, exactly. But it's all these different things. But like they also have, there's PACs who come in or like, we're going to promote you because you're aligned with us. And in her case, she is a woman who she's not turning women.
No.
She's not convincing women to not get divorced. She's convincing men that their future partner should never even want to consider divorce to try to create that Gilead in these men's minds.
Yes.
And that's why she's always going to be alone.
100%. So these are all screenshots from her YouTube. Feminists only want equality when it benefits them. Child support enforcer reveals the truth about marriage no one is telling men. Wilson destroys single mom. And then this is where
My
Tomi
God.
Lahren comes in because it says undercover feminist gets schooled. And the undercover feminist is Tomi
Tomi
Lahren.
Lahren,
So
that's
Tomi
crazy.
Lahren is not far right enough for
Oh, yeah.
Pearl.
But she's come out as pro-choice.
Yes, because
And every
she's
time
pro-choice.
she's like,
Abortion.
I feel like I should be able to have one. And
Yeah.
they're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Ah, you're supposed to be a Nazi like the rest of
So
us.
she's the undercover feminist getting schooled in this clip. And then I just included this other one. It's a 2.5 hour long episode called STD Friday.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know.
But also with Pearl, she's in the same market with Piers Morgan.
Yes.
She goes on Piers a lot. I mean, I know other people who go on Piers. She's been on Jubilee. She
Yes.
goes through all these different things. There is an ecosystem for rage baiters
Yeah.
and talking heads who will go on and say outrageous shit.
Yes.
And like,
And they get backing, and there's no counter pro. That's why I'm like, your voice is important. Our voice is important. Like, there's no counter programming.
well, but why would a billionaire ever pay us?
Well,
but you
but
give
I'm
us
saying George Soros, give us some fucking money.
But here's the thing:
Give
is-
us some fucking
He
money.
doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't
But
care.
also-
He wants the people who are in power in the Democratic Party to be in power.
but also,
But
but
they're
al-
not going to get empowered.
no, they're not going to. But also,
They're losing all
with
their
all of these different shows, I mean, look at what Joe Rogan has, and look at Pearl and all these different guys. Inevitably, they end up becoming infomercials for the ruling class.
Yeah.
That's the reason why you have Mark Andreessen going on Joe Rogan and on Theo Von, that egg-headed motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's why you have all these different dudes. Our old rich elites used to move in silence.
Yeah.
They would be in tinted out windows driving through Manhattan. Now they want us to know that they're in charge.
Yeah.
And people like Pearl, she plays in really well. I guarantee you, she has a studio set up the same way a newsroom does, where at any moment she can walk into another room in her house and she'll go text, hey, somebody dropped out. Can you hop on, Piers Morgan? Oh yeah, sure. I can be right there in 5 minutes. Let me just get my makeup on. Let me do this. Give me this. And those people, when we did our episode about Jubilee, there was a thing that they said that I found out after I recorded the episode, which is that when they reach out to Charlie Kirk, when they reach out to her, she said, what time do you want me there? When they reach out to Pete Buttigieg, when they reach out to other like Democrat influencers, stuff like that, or liberal influencers, we go, well, what's the show about?
Yeah.
Mm.
What are the questions? Because we just want to know what this is, because
Yeah.
we're so used to being attacked, or like maybe there's a thing we're specifically working on right now that like I really want to focus on trans issues, or I really want to focus on this issue over here, and so like this might be a distraction and that might hurt this other messaging that I'm working on. Versus Charlie Kirk is just like, it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blast it. He'll even post the fucking videos of himself getting schooled. The one that caught me, did you see how Charlie Kirk did the Oxford debate?
He like edits out like when someone
He
says,
does. But the one thing he also does is the Oxford debate itself is up on their website. He also got the permission for them to repost it himself. The Oxford debate on the Oxford site has like 5,000 views. On Charlie Kirk's has like 1.2 million. And then every single day, he's cutting each individual person and then reposting those. Some of those goes viral, some of those don't. And you know what he's doing in between that? He's reposting shit from 3 fucking years ago
Yeah.
of old debate clips, because this is, I was talking about this the other night. This is becoming relevant again. Pearl's going to do the same exact
She
thing.
does. So that's like, I was looking up a bunch of clips. I think time-wise, we're just not going to watch all of these clips. Maybe I'll insert them later, but whatever. Either way, that is like the majority of her virality is all of this stuff that's like, watch Pearl get owned. Watch Pearl get
Yes.
owned. But at the end of the day, she doesn't give a fuck about
It's
getting
attention
owned.
economy.
It's attention
Yeah.
economy. She doesn't care. So, okay. I mentioned her controversies section on her Wikipedia. We're just going to go through a little bit, because obviously she's been canceled and not canceled, and cancel culture doesn't exist for people like her, all of this stuff. In July 2023, she got canceled for tweeting 16-year-old chicks are hotter than 26-year-old chicks.
Nice.
Okay.
So
Epstein.
Cool. Epstein.
Was she Azalea Banks?
Oh my God.
We have an episode on Azalea Banks.
I
and
have
her
a theory about
mini-me's.
her right now being taking backdoor money.
Oh, I believe
Oh
it.
yeah, because she's done conservative pivot.
Well,
okay.
but also because she said that as young as 14, which is the exact age of Jeffrey Epstein's youngest known victim. She did that whole tweet about it. But that's
okay.
yeah.
Put a pin in that.
Pin.
But this is related. In January 2023, she had Andrew Tate on her podcast in an episode titled "Andrew Tate and Pearl Debate Modern Women," and this episode came out a few weeks after he was arrested in Romania for sex trafficking.
Nice.
So cool. In July 2023, she posted a now deleted video called "Why Can't We Talk About the Jews?"
Nice.
Now, it probably won't surprise you to hear that the video is anti-Semitic, but would it surprise you to hear that it was a song?
Okay, no, that is shocking.
And the song is
I am
dedicated to Nick Fuentes.
I am mad that it's not a ukulele. Number one,
I
how
know.
dare you,
I was-
Pearl?
I was, like,
also,
annoyed.
content creator to content creator. What the fuck is this angle?
the
No, the
angle's
angle's
crazy.
bad.
This is clearly a laptop camera
Yeah.
that she's just gonna slap together. This is insane. I want to let you know, just real fast, this is the type of thing that I would take to Mrs. Pearlman and be like, all right, listen, I wrote a little song. And she'd be like, oh my God, take that out of your drafts right now. That is somewhere in a server in Beijing.
Yeah, please. No one can ever. So yeah, she posted this song called "Why Can't We Talk About the Jews?" She did eventually delete that one. She didn't apologize, but she said she took it down because she didn't want to keep dealing with the headache.
Okay, sure.
The only thing that I could find that she's ever apologized for was for saying that divorce shouldn't be allowed. So thank you,
Wow,
Pearl.
Interesting.
That's the only thing she's ever apologized for.
It's probably because the rich backers were like, if I was still stuck with my
Well,
first wife,
yeah.
Well,
you
Literally.
back off on that one.
yeah,
Literally.
that's the kind
Yeah.
of thing, though. It's like they want the subjugation, but they don't want any of the thing. I'm like, why hasn't she dated Nick Fuentes? Like, what's going on?
Because Nick Fuentes doesn't want her. Like you said, Nick Fuentes wants someone who
Nick
doesn't.
Fuentes wants cat boys. Nick Fuentes is gay. Like,
Yeah.
there's like no way around it. Like,
Okay, yeah.
allegedly, sorry.
Allegedly,
It's on his-
allegedly, allegedly.
That's
whatever,
what I'm
but, like-
saying. That's what
But
I'm
like everybody knows it. Like Nick Fuentes is very charismatic.
How
but-
do you feel about that as a fellow Cuban?
I've disavowed Nick Fuentes long ago.
Oh, you're Cuban?
Yeah.
There's enough Cuban.
Half.
There's
I
enough
can't.
Cuban bigots. If she
I
had to
can't.
apologize for
I
every
know.
single one.
I can't.
Oh my God.
Well, we just
How long is this podcast? Well,
Yeah,
it is
no,
going to
we
be
have
7 years.
We have
I
to
know.
wrap up, but
I know.
I'm teasing her because recently Eric Adams says he feels a little bit Dominican, and the thing is, there's truth to that. And I'm just saying, like, being Dominican it's not there yet. Obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll ever be as embarrassing as being Cuban, but it's starting to get there.
Yeah.
And Alise is like
Politically, it's really hard. It's really hard for us. I think
her. Can we talk
we-
about your aunt who got
no.
No.
No. No, we're actually running out of time
That's
here.
the best. That's the best cut. That's the best cut.
Okay, well,
We're actually coming up on a little bit of overtime.
Oh wow.
So
That's why you guys got to take this to the Patreon.
Oh.
And we can talk all about your aunt on the Patreon. Which if people want to hear that, they can hear it at.
we'll do Tia Talk on the Patreon.
Tia Talk.
But
You do
Pearl,
have to-
for the crime of being a fake guys girl anti-feminist for likes and views, for maybe taking side money to
She's
do
definitely
this,
taking side
she's
money.
definitely maybe for
and for
doing
looking like shit, honestly.
yeah, for telling women how to act while looking like shit and not having a boyfriend yourself.
Yeah.
Pearl, forever and for all time.
Go touch grass. Alex,
That's our episode.
we're wrapped, dog. Alex,
This was
thank you
amazing.
so much.
Thank you for
This is
having
as good as we
me.
thought it was going to be.
This is it's as amazing as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I wish it could be 5 hours. It can't. Where can people find you?
Oh, where can they find
Where
me?
can you plug? Now is your appropriate time to
All right,
plug.
I'm gonna pick my camera.
Yeah, right
I'm
there.
picking my camera right here.
Uh-oh.
You look down the barrel of this gun and you look right at my face. First thing, you just Google Pearlmania 500. Don't write controversy after that. But if you do, it will on YouTube directly take you to my podcast, Too Many Tabs. But follow me on YouTube. I also have a comedy special that I released a few months ago called Daddy's Day. It's my only piece of stand-up that I enjoy that's actually on the internet because it's has good audio and visual for it. And I thought it was pretty good. So please check that out. You can find me on Instagram, all those other stuff. I'm everywhere. I'm Pearlmania500. But again, check out Too Many Tabs podcast with me and my wife, Mrs. Pearlmania, and Mr. Third, our producer, and everybody else. And thank you so much.
Oh my
You were
gosh.
amazing.
This
We
is
were
awesome.
even thrilled.
And I want you to know, if it wasn't for my podcast, that was how I found out about you guys.
Oh my God, I
Is-
was suspecting. I was like,
Yeah.
he must have found out through, because
No.
you said an aura farming thing, right?
Yeah, so part of what it was we have on our Patreon at pearlmania500.net.
What is
on
it?
our pearlmania500.net. Our Patreon, we have a chat in there, the same way Discord has, but there's a little chat area. And somebody was like, oh my God, you got mentioned on my other favorite podcast. And they mentioned Go Touch Scratch. And I was
Shout
like,
out.
well, I was immediately attracted to the name because I'm like, everyone should. And oh my
Yeah.
God, it was also the first internet term where it didn't make sense to me immediately.
Oh.
Because so I actually had to that was me becoming old internet man.
Yeah.
I had to Urban Dictionary
Yeah.
that one.
Wow, Go
So
Touch Scratch.
It
yeah,
happens.
and then I was like, it's such a go because people should. You have to
Yeah.
log off. You need to put the phone down. You need to have field of depth perception and look at a distance every now and then, reset your eyeballs.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's
All
what
those-
this pod is for, people who want to know
Yes.
what's going on, want
Yes.
to know what people are talking about, want to know that there's 10K hours of Epstein in 4K.
Yes.
This is what they get from
that
here.
Tim Dillon and the vice president of the United States tried to say we're commercial grade child pornography.
Yeah.
But that's what that was about. And I don't know how much of this episode is actually going to be able to stay on YouTube. But you have a hell of an edit, but luckily you have
Yeah.
a month to do it.
Yeah, we've got
Yeah,
time.
but honestly, luckily for us, we're not monetized yet. So
Hey!
We can say whatever we want.
we can do whatever we want. All right, guys, follow us at Go Touch Grass Pod everywhere on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Follow me at Millie_Tamarez on Instagram and TikTok, and at Millie Tamarez on Twitter. I'm still there because I really love.
And guys, you can find me on Instagram at Pandalise and on TikTok at Alise Navidad. And until next time,
Go Touch Grass! Woo!
we did it.
We did it. Oh,
That was fun.
We
that was
did
fun.
it.
So
We're just
fun.